Some people spend an entire lifetime wondering if they made a difference in the world. The Marines don't have that problem. Back in 1775, my Marine Corps came alive. Founded in a bar, Ton Tavern, we've been starting and finishing fights for over 200 years. Our uniforms, as you can see, off the charts. Me being modest, I describe them as godlike. And in case you didn't know, God has a hard-on for Marines because we're always sending them fresh souls. If you rank military uniforms around the globe, the United States Marine Corps, specifically their iconic dress blues, consistently dominates the #1 spot. So all this begs an answer to the question, why are the Marines so stylish? So the obvious reason why Marines are so stylish is that we are brash, we are loud, we are in people's face, telling them all the time how good looking we are. The Marine Corps is the smallest and least funded branch of the military. So instead of bragging about expensive equipment, they focus entirely on the individual warrior. It is a fanatical, almost cult-like culture, but beyond the mindset, there's a distinct, repeatable formula to how they dress. Today, we are breaking down the 5 reasons the U.S. Marines are so well dressed and how you can steal their secrets to upgrade your own style. So guys, here's the secret to why so many guys look great in their military uniforms. They're in the best shape of their lives. Seriously, when you've got a chest that's larger than your stomach, your arms are decent sized, and you just simply stand up straight, most men look decent. Put them in a uniform, put them in a unit, they look damn good. Now take that same soldier, feed him too many donuts, and as you can see, the uniform doesn't do him any favors. The Marine Corps PFT, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. I think it's the hardest physical fitness test in all of the services. Yes, the SEALs may have a very tough, Hell Week and all the other stuff. Delta may have some amazing training, but as the entire service has to go through this PFT. Doesn't matter if you are a colonel, doesn't matter if you are a boot recruit. You're going through this PFT and you're being judged. Now, when I went through and I served from 1997 to 2003 late after coming back from Iraq, the PFT was the same for everybody. And the highest I ever scored was a 280. A perfect PFT score is going to be a 300, and you can get 100 for the run. If you can do this under 18 minutes, I think I was running about a 17:30. I was a pretty quick runner. I ran cross country in college. Pull-ups, I would only get 80 on this because I could do at the most 16 pull-ups. Upper body, I wasn't huge. This was something that was always kind of my, it was just tough for me, but I did knock out 16. And then it was crunches. You got 1 point for 100. So you do 100 crunches, and that one was always pretty easy. Now, for any old Marines out there, you may be surprised to hear that they actually changed up the PFT. So they've actually added more crunches. They made it more difficult. So now people have to take it seriously. The run, they've kind of left as it is, but now you've got the option of doing push-ups instead of pull-ups, although you can't score as high of a score. So most Marines do not take up the option, but they've also adjusted it based off of your age. But in any case, most Marines are in excellent shape. Now, you may be thinking, isn't it the same for all the other services? And I'd have to say no. The Navy, the Air Force, the Army, even to an extent, is more lax than the Marine Corps in terms of what is allowed. The Marine Corps is just a really big stickler, and they check it all the time. You have to do the PFT every single year. And then they're measuring if you look like you weigh too much, you've got too much weight around the midsection, they're going to kick you out. So why does this make them more stylish? Because in general, it's very rare to see an out of shape Marine, unless he's been out of the Marine Corps for a year and he kept up some of those bad eating habits he picked up in the field. And sometimes Marines, sometimes we do get really big after we leave. I don't know about the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, or the Coasties, but in the Marine Corps, we have what's known as the Marine Corps Uniform Regulations that explain exactly how to wear every single uniform. And when I say exact, I'm not kidding. I'm talking to the quarter of an inch where actually badges and rank insignia need to be pinned. Now, I know to an outsider, this may seem like overkill, but for a military unit or a large organization or a cult like the Marine Corps, those regulations are really useful to ensure everybody is sending the right message. Because whether you like to admit it or not, people make a judgment of you based on how you present yourself, how you look. The first few seconds, they measure you up even before you've had a chance to open your mouth. You are being judged. Yeah, I know it's not fair, but it's the way the world works. And military units understand this, especially the Marine Corps. They want to make sure that they are sending the right message. Now, how does this apply to you as an individual? I'm not saying you got to have a 300, 200, or 100-page document, but I am saying you do need to set your own standards. Because if you don't have your own standards, society is going to throw theirs on you. Other people are going to force theirs upon you. And the problem with that is they're not looking out for your best interests. So when you walk into a store, you're looking to buy clothing. Are you dressing like the mannequins? Or have you thought through the message you want to send and then wear the appropriate clothing that sends the signal that helps build your reputation? You may be incredibly smart. You got that fancy degree. You've got that training. You've got that experience, but nobody sees that. What they see is the clothing you're wearing, and to them, the message it sends. Whenever somebody goes onto a Marine base, they're like, wow, everyone looks good, because everyone is following a standard. Details matter. I want to talk to you about the story of a helicopter going down. I remember this incident and us reading the after action reports. And that's basically where the military goes through and they examine every little detail, the engineering, was it the pilot? They're trying to figure out what happened so it doesn't repeat itself. It turned out that the helicopter had been, when it was going through repairs, one bolt or one washer was put on backwards. Throughout my short 5-year career in the Marine Corps, I would see this again and again. Small details ignored and tragedy would occur. So before you go out with your friends and you're trying that new outfit, maybe get their opinion. Before you leave the bathroom to go rejoin your date, make sure you do a check. Hey, everything is good. Zippers up. Is there anything in my teeth? Look in the mirror, wash those hands. Before you buy that expensive watch that you didn't even know you needed till 30 minutes ago, can you sleep on it? Is it going to be okay? It'll probably be there tomorrow. Gents, be careful about complacency. The details matter. Little known fact here is that Marine Corps uniforms are tailored to fit on them. A lot of the other branches, I noticed they just put on something that fits off the rack and they go with it. But whether it's the Marine Corps Exchange or you're going into the Marine shop, and I remember when I graduated from college and I got my commission, one of the first things they told us at TBS is, okay, everyone needs to take out a loan for $5,000. We're like, what? Like, yeah, you got to buy your uniforms. Enlisted, you're actually issued, but officers have to buy. But one of the things I learned, because I had to make a decision, am I going to go with the exchange or am I going to go with the Marine shop? Is I'm like, well, why would I pay more money to go with the Marine shop? Apparently, their tailoring was better, although some people will argue nowadays that there's not really much of a difference. In any case, you're going to have multiple adjustments. Things were going to have to be made to your size. And I don't think you see this to this detail. You can actually have your uniform adjusted. I know in the Air Force, the Coasties do it. These other branches do it. But the Marine Corps, everybody does this. There are tailoring shops surrounding bases because you need to get things let in. You need to get them adjusted. You need to get them tightened up in certain areas whenever, you're spending more time in the gym. And it is something that people inspect. Like before, you have your, in the military, you've got inspections. You've got inspections before the inspections. You've got inspections before the inspections before the inspections. My point here is that you need to be prepared. You want to have a go-to outfit that makes you feel like $1 million that is ready to go, that fits you. Every once in a while, you take it out, you try it on, or whenever it's called upon. This isn't something you wear day to day that you're kind of degrading, but you want to have those go-to outfits, those go-to pieces that just so, hey, whenever the shit hits the fan, you are ready to go. If you're single, this is your Friday night outfit that separates you from the crowd. It's that seductive fragrance that you only pull out when you want to grab her attention. On a more somber note, it's that dark suit that you've got ready whenever you're asked to be a pallbearer in an unexpected tragedy. The point is, gents, develop the philosophy of being prepared. Whenever I wear a pair of shoes, I shine them after I wear them, not when I need them, because when you need them, sometimes you don't have time to get things ready. And with that being said, gents, if you're looking for a community of like-minded warriors looking to become their best self, men just like you, gents, I'm linking to our private group, HWP, down in the description. Go check us out if you're serious about becoming your best self. It's a group for professional, mature men looking to become their best selves. We focus in on health, wealth, and purpose. If this all sounds interesting to you, learn more by clicking on the link in the description. And remember, gents, the key here is action. Action through group and individual accountability so that you can take the steps to become the man you know yourself to be. Check out the link in the description of today's video, and I will see you in the community. overall, the Marine Corps uniforms were relatively simple, especially when compared with the Army and all of their specialty units and all the different covers, which is basically a word for hats, all the different stuff that they could wear. The same with the Navy. The Marine Corps is very simply laid out. Starting at the top, there are 4 different types of Marine Corps uniforms. There is going to be the combat uniform, and this seems to change every 20 to 30 years, depending what's going on. They're looking for function, they're making small adjustments. As you can imagine, the combat uniform is straight up function. Does it make the Marines' life easier in combat? Everything here is tested out, and they're continuously looking to refine the uniform using different materials, using different cuts, different fits. Next up, we've got the service uniform. And this is one a lot of civilians are not familiar with, but Marines know as when you're checking in on base, this is like your business suit equivalent. It looks good. It serves tons of purposes. Oftentimes, you're going to get your picture taken with this one. If you're going to be day-to-day, maybe working at the Pentagon, this would be the uniform that you would wear. Now, going into a little bit more detail when it comes to the service uniform, there are Service A's, Service B's, and Service C's. Now, what I love about these uniforms is that they really are interchangeable. They're built off of each other. The Service A, you've got the jacket right there, and this is going to make this the dressiest of all the service uniforms. Now, with the Service B and the Service C, this is going to be if you're working on a day-to-day basis, like on a military base, you're not having to dress up as much. It's just a regular day at work. And with the Bravos or the Charlies, you're also going to notice they've got the Garrison hat cap. I loved this hat, also called the Piss Cutter. It's just a good looking cap. I thought you could also, if you wore a flight suit, that's actually where I wore it the majority of the time. But yeah, this is just simple work utility uniform. Next up, let's talk about evening dress, perhaps the least known Marine Corps uniform. And this one is for very special occasions. This is going to be at inaugurations, balls. You're going to see really high level events. The equivalent here is white tie. So you're going to see vests, you're going to see cummerbunds, but still within a military uniform. You're going to find that most lower level officers and most enlisted personnel are not going to have this uniform because there is rarely a situation in which they would need to wear it. But if you have duty over in Washington, D.C., if you are at an embassy, you're going to find that this is probably a uniform you're going to need to pick up because there will be situations in which you'll need to wear it. And I do want to point out the boat cloak here. Yes, Marines can wear cloaks still. Per our regulations, I actually have a boat cloak. I never wore it when I was in the service. I picked it up afterwards, and I have to say that they are friggin' awesome. I mean, you got to love the fact that we can bring in a cape. Now let's talk about the blue dress uniform, also called the dress blues. This has to be the most iconic and famous Marine Corps uniform out there. And similar to the other ones, there are variations. So you are going to see the blue dress A's, you're going to see the blue dress B's, blue dress C's, and blue dress D's. Now, anyone that's ever been into a Marine Corps recruiting station, you have probably seen the blue dress C's and D's. Really depends on the time of the year. The C's are going to be more formal simply because you're wearing the tie with the longer sleeve shirt, but Deltas you're going to see, during the hot summer. And this, again, very regular wear in a recruiting station. And you'll also see blue dress C's and D's worn by Marines that are serving on security guard duty. Now, the blue dress A's are iconic because they have popped up in so many recruiting posters. In addition, if you're on leave or you're on liberty and you're going to be attending a wedding, if you are going to be getting married, you can actually wear this uniform, hence why it's seen so many times outside. If you're going to be at a Marine Corps ball, I know we had ours multiple times in Vegas whenever you're in Pendleton. It's just easier to drive to Vegas. They've got it all set up, and let's just say the parties were crazy. But that was the uniform that you would wear out on the town, and so many people would see, yeah, Marines going crazy, having a great time, looking good, and it is iconic. Now, speaking of uniforms, let's talk about the importance of a uniform. One thing I love about having a set of clothing that you can wear, it's very similar, and you wear it again and again, is you don't have to think. I mean, even Mark Zuckerberg, yes, the guy that wears t-shirts and hoodies all the time, he shared his wardrobe. It's pretty much the same shirt. Why does he do that? Well, he's probably thought through, this is the kind of guy I want to come off as, although whenever he goes to Congress, he does wear a suit. But the point is, he just doesn't want to think. He wants to be able to get dressed and go. Same with the late Steve Jobs. Look at Dr. Dre. He wears the same Nike Air Force Ones again and again. You see, a uniform enables you to think once about the message you want to send and then craft a wardrobe that you don't have to think every time you're getting dressed. You just wear something similar, or maybe in some cases the same thing, and you go forward and you focus on what actually matters. Now, the military is an extreme version of that. To the untrained eye, everyone looks the same, but to somebody that's in these units, they can see insignia, they see rank, they see badges that tell them where this person fits. But here's the deal. It's the same thing in the civilian world. Most people just don't see it. But if somebody looks successful, they're going to be treated as a success. If somebody looks like they should be somewhere because they're wearing a uniform, they look like a maintenance person, well, security isn't going to stop them. Ever heard the joke about just simply carry a ladder, dress as a maintenance person, and no one's going to stop you from entering a club? It sounds funny, it sounds like a joke, but it actually works. So how do you want to be perceived? How do you want people to treat you? And I'm not saying you got to wear a suit, but I am saying if you're going to put casual clothing outfits together, think through the message. Think through, do you want to come off as a creative? Do you want to come off as somebody that is an up and coming owner of, whether it be a bank, whether it be a nonprofit, whatever it is you want to do? I mean, even if you're starting a company that cuts lawns, I would still think that you'd probably want to have uniforms. Why? So that that single mom who's at home is going to answer the door because you look the part of somebody that's there to get work done. Let's look at these images as we go through history looking at the Marine Corps uniforms. It was back in 1798, the first time that the iconic blue was introduced to the Marine Corps uniform. Now, in 1834, we did go through a green phase. Andrew Jackson really wanted to see that, but within 5 years, we were already going back to the blue and red. These iconic colors, we just noticed that, hey, they work, they grab attention, they are absolutely good looking. Our iconic Eagle, Globe, and Anchor was adopted in 1875. You're going to find that all Marines wear this on their uniforms, and it is viewed that something only a Marine can wear. On the top of our cover, let's talk about the quarterfoil. This is seen on dress caps, and it's something that apparently it was for sharpshooters so that they could identify friend from foe. The reality is that's probably not true. It was a popular French fashion, and again, these have been around on our covers since 1812. Then we've got the blood stripe. You'll see this on the legs of corporals and above on the enlisted side, and all officers wear this. It was added to the uniform in 1892. And those gold buttons worn on our blue coats that have an eagle, an anchor, and an arc of 13 stars have actually been on our uniforms since the year 1804, making them one of the oldest items still in use that is worn on a modern uniform. Next up, we've got the Marmaluke sword. Adopted in 1805, this was to commemorate Marines crossing 600 miles of North Africa to capture the Barbary coast town of Dema. To this very day, it's mentioned in the Marine Corps hymn, "To the Shores of Tripoli." Because although you may not be trying to pull off a sword in your day-to-day wear, maybe you're trying to introduce a new pair of boots and you're unsure if these are going to look good on you. But here's the deal. If you know the history, if you know the origin of the desert boot, you know that this served British officers throughout World War II, came out of Cairo, and is a functional shoe that is a classic in menswear. And the use of suede made it more comfortable, more breathable, and better in a hot environment. So understanding that bit of history all of a sudden gives you the confidence to pull this off, and who cares what some uninformed person thinks about these boots? You know the truth. Neckties aren't just an item that corporate business people wear. They have a long storied history in unit identification. Seriously, read about the Croatians that served under Napoleon. Gents, the military made me stylish because it taught me the history of what I was wearing. When you know the origins of a piece of clothing, you can wear it in the appropriate situation with confidence. Now, specifically, the colors of the dress blue uniform. These are going to be on the enlisted side: midnight blue, sky blue, scarlet, gold, and white. Now, this color combination here is great, especially because they don't go evenly. If it was 20% of each of these five, it wouldn't be a good looking uniform. Instead, what we see is the majority is going to be the base neutral colors, the two blues. And then you bring in the accent colors. That gold with the red with a little bit of white. This is what really makes the details on the uniform pop. And a little bit of trivia here. Can you see what the difference is between the officer uniform and the enlisted dress blue uniform? Come on, look at it quickly. I know, okay, we've got the accents are slightly different, a few little details, but do you see the color difference? It's big. So the officer jacket is black, and it's the enlisted jacket right here that is going to be navy blue. It may not seem like much of a difference, but it is per regulation. And I'm not sure why they started that one. It's a very slight variation. I have to say that looking at the two, I really do like the officer jacket. But then again, that was I don't know, agree, disagree. Let me know in the comments below who wears it better, the enlisted side or the officer side when it comes to their dress blues. I want to hear from you guys down below. Now, gents, if you enjoyed this video, you want more about the Marine Corps, go check out this video. I did it a while back about the life lessons I took from the United States Marine Corps, and I think any guy can take. So yeah, it's a good video. Go check it out. Boom, right here. Semper Fi. Oh yeah.